championship right now. Eric Bledsoe is now sitting at home, waiting to be traded.
Right.
And then,
True.
and I don't. What is Tyson Chandler doing now? I don't even know what he's doing now. So, it's just. I mean, this is just it's a young team that needs to grow up, man. And he's going to have to grow up. He has to realize that he's on the biggest platform as far as basketball being in the NBA, and that he's going to have hecklers. There's people that's going to heckle you the entire game. There's people that's going to talk trash to you the entire game. You know what great players do when that happens? They get on the court and they drop 30. And then they go tell the heckler, see what you made me do?
Right, exactly.
See what you made me do?
Exactly.
I dropped that just for you, sir. Just because you said it, I went and did it. So he has to take that mindset of taking that negative energy and using it to fuel his ability to be great on the court.
Yeah, I think he learned a valuable lesson that you cannot show your frustrations in that type of way. You just can't do it. That's not that's not what the NBA is going to allow. Period. They're more lenient, I think, in certain situations, but they're going to be very strict, especially on young guys coming up. And Chief says, Ben, did you see how the Nets beat the Cavs and the Knicks beat the Nets? I did. Yeah, I did see that, which it's early in the season. So any type of wins that the Nets get or the Knicks get, I mean, it is what it is on that front. All right, so David Stern comes out and says, remove the marijuana ban. I think we've talked about this a little bit here and there, but I think this is going to be huge for all sports. I think it's going to completely change that stance in all sports, not just NBA. But I think David Stern, in saying this, there could be some lax to this ban, and it possibly may get removed. And I think it will. Because you look at it being legalized in so many different areas, at some point in time, the NBA or the NFL can't say, well, we're going to be the ones to initiate a rule that doesn't even exist in state legislation. So I think David Stern made a great point, and I think this is just the beginning of how it's going to expand throughout all sports.
I agree as well, man. First off, I'm not a marijuana user. Just want to make that clear. although I might advocate for its usage, I'm not a marijuana user, and here's why. Like, personally, marijuana doesn't do nothing for me. But for some people, it is just something that helps them relax and just cope with things in life. And as studies and as more information has come out about marijuana use, and there hasn't been too many negative effects that you can really talk about. You don't have people that are smoking marijuana going out and killing people driving their car like you do with alcohol, right? And alcohol is legal, right?
Right. True.
So when you start looking at those things and start, weighing the positives and negatives and things like that, more of, the issue with marijuana has really just been the stigma behind it being associated with crime or with gang bangers and gang members and that type of thing. That's really been the stigma behind marijuana. But you think about its medical usage and things that's been used for to deal with, such as anxiety, such as cataracts and and issues with vision. And there's so many other components that this has been used for that has been well. So I think that stigma, that negative stigma, has started to remove itself in society, and probably so because of so many states finally making it legal, as well as also felt like marijuana was the only reason it was illegal in the first place because the government didn't have a way to regulate it and tax it.
Can't put no taxes
always
on
been
it.
Yeah, I think that's always been the issue with anything in America, is if they can't tax it or if they can't regulate it, then they consider it bad and illegal, right? So, there's actual prescription medicine that does more harm to your body than marijuana. So, and you can get that over the counter. So, so yeah, I definitely feel like, you know, that David Stern is making a great point and possibly putting it out there to say, hey, you know, at this next negotiation, you know, this next bargaining agreement, this should be something that you guys should probably remove, this whole, you know, ban on marijuana. And you know what? We probably won't have as many issues with players in the league being suspended for it as well. I think about the NFL. The NFL is definitely an organization that needs to probably remove it. As you see, some of the top players in the league has had their careers shortened and or limited because of marijuana usage. And them using marijuana hasn't affected their performance on the field. You know, it's not like these players are going on the field high. I don't think they're going on the field high, you know, and it don't look like they're going on the field high, but it hasn't affected their performance on the field. So it'll be great to see. We'll see what happens. You know, I said that you know, when you have things like that, you know, it's a give or take thing. So, you know, they could, you know, remove that legislation, but they might also try to put something else in its place. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very interesting discussion because it's evolved. It's evolved so much over time that it's not the same. And I think with so many different studies, you think about people with CTE and how they deal with it. You think about how their bodies recoup. Like a lot of people don't really think about those things. And I agree with Tyjun as well. I'm not a weed smoker or anything like that. But as the research and as information and more things come out, I think the sports world is going to have to evolve just as the government evolves and as any organization or legislation continues to evolve. So to me, that's the interesting part about that whole argument. Let's go to the NFL. Martavis Bryant, who, okay, first of all, you were suspended all last year. Second of all, you're on a team with AB. How many touches do you think you're going to get? You're not going to get more than Antonio Brown, and you're second in receptions on the team. So I guess I get it. You want to be, you know, you want to be someone that gets as many touches as possible. You want to be someone that boosts your value. I get all that, but you're behind Antonio Brown. So there's no way you're going to get close to the amount of touches he's going to get. And his frustrations are not even valid. And that's my whole thing on him. And I think Mike Tomlin, I want to give a round of applause to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, when there are certain situations, Mike Tomlin knows how to handle it. He is a leader of men, not just a coach, a leader of men. But what's your thoughts on this Martavis Bryant situation?
So I have mixed feelings. And here's why. Like playing receiver, playing a sport, you know, you tend to feel like if you're good enough to make an impact, you want to be utilized to make an impact on the game. And although Martavis Bryant makes an impact by just being on the field, I mean, this is a team who, yeah, you mentioned they have Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown doesn't see a lot of double teams with Martavis Bryant on the field. You know, let's remember Martavis Bryant is a top tier receiver. This dude has top tier talent, right? And the Steelers have literally a 1A and 1B, sort of like what Indianapolis had with Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. They have two stud receivers. I think Martavis Bryant's issue really is, again, just being a part of the game and feeling like he's a part of the team. I would not want to be on the game, be in the game for 4 quarters running routes and never even had a quarterback look my way. I mean, Roethlisberger don't even look his way. And let me just give you some of the numbers. So the past two games, Martavis Bryant has had 5 targets. The past 2 games. Juju Smith, I can't say his last name.
Schuster, I think, yeah.
He's had 7 targets in the past 2 games. Antonio Brown has had 30 targets in the past 2 games. That is a huge difference,
True.
at the receiving court. And so I understand his frustration. Now, where I think he messed up is he went on Twitter or whatever, Instagram, whatever social media website he went on. He went on social media and basically dogged out his teammate. But he said, Juju Smith isn't as nearly as good as me, and I just really won't mind. If you don't want to give me mine, then go ahead and trade me. Now, again, I don't have an issue with him asking to be traded. The Steelers have, genuinely traded players if they messed up. Look at Antonio Holmes, who got in trouble even after he won a Super Bowl for him. He got traded immediately after that, right? Price Burris, same thing. He got traded. You've had a lot of players that as soon as something has happened, they've been traded. For some reason, they want to hold on to Martavis Bryant, and I just don't understand why. If you're not going to pass the ball to him, if you're not going to implement him into the offense, and he's not happy, you're not happy with his performance, he's not happy with his ability to get the ball, it would seem like the best thing to be at this point would be to just trade him and move on, because then he starts to become a distraction in the locker room. However, I do respect Tomlin for suspending him for a game. He demoted him to the practice squad, which is kind of embarrassing, right? To get demoted from the second, from being a starter to the practice squad, and then having to sit out a game because of your comments. So I do commend him in the way that he handled that situation. He's tried. I think Tomlin has had a hard time this year in trying to balance out the distractions with the team. I mean, if you think about a couple of weeks ago, they had the whole distraction with the anthem, right? So I commend him, but I think Martavis Bryant is probably better served elsewhere at this point. I just don't think that the Steelers really want him to be there. I just don't. Yeah. I don't feel like they want him to be there.
Kind of at this point. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but at this point, it's kind of a point of no return. When you demote somebody to the practice squad, and this guy is a, I don't know, top 50 wide receiver, I guess you could say, in the league. How do you come back from that? How do you say, "Oh, we welcome you back the next week"? I don't even know if you can do that.
Yeah, I think they're right. I think the Steelers kind of put themselves in a hard position, and I think he backed himself into a hard position as well by making a comment, and then also by demanding that he gets the ball more or trade him, etc. I just think that this team has dealt with a lot of distractions this year. I mean, earlier you had Antonio Brown that complained about not getting a specific pass, and not getting the proper, not getting looks during certain plays. You had Le'Veon Bell complain about not touching the ball as much, and now you have Martavis Bryant complaining about not touching the ball as much. The difference is Martavis Bryant was the only one that was punished for doing so. So I think
that's a good point.
So I think that you have an issue here where this player is feeling a certain way. He's feeling alienated, and I just really don't think that the Steelers want him there. I think that they're holding him there because they have him under contract. He still has a year left on his contract, and he's there for cheap. Again, he's a top tier talent in the league, but they don't want to let this dude go until Juju Smith develops. That's how I feel. Juju Smith develops, and Juju Smith steps in and takes his place. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think the trade deadline is what, 2 weeks? Next week? Right. Week after next? Yep. Something like that? If he's not traded by the trade deadline, more likely he'll be gone in the offseason.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there at all. Couple of welcomes. Welcome to Big L in the chat room.
Thank you. Welcome.
Appreciate you for jumping in. Also, Chief says NC is about to get with Miami. Yeah, I got that game on in the background. That's 17-13. Miami up on North Carolina. Oh, my God. North Carolina needs to win badly. So if they somehow win this game,
Oh my God!
I don't know. Miami does not need to lose this